Fairy Glow TV, the magical fairy of Rose Garden. Far away, in a beautiful valley, there was a special garden. It was called Rose Garden. This garden was not normal. Every day it looked like a rainbow. Red, yellow, blue, purple, and orange flowers were everywhere. The air smelled sweet. Bees sang songs and butterflies danced in the sky. In this garden lived a small, cute, and naughty fairy. Her name was Gulbahar. Her wings shined like a rainbow, and she had a magic stick. With her stick, she made sad flowers happy again. She helped leaves grow back on trees. She made everything look pretty. Everyone loved Gulbahar, but she was also very naughty. Sometimes she changed the color of flowers, sometimes the voices of butterflies, and sometimes she made the clouds fly upside down. Her naughty tricks made everyone laugh. But one day, everything changed. That morning, when Gulbahar woke up, the air felt heavy. Flowers were sad and dying. Butterflies were gone. The whole garden was dark and quiet. Then the old banyan tree spoke with a shaking voice. "He has come back, Dark Shadow." Gulbahar was shocked. "Who?" The old tree said, "Dark Shadow is an old bad spirit. He makes everything dry and sad. He came here 100 years ago, but we sent him away. Now he has returned." Gulbahar felt scared, but she said to herself, "I will save my garden. I have to try." "But what can I do alone?" she asked. The old tree said slowly, "There is one way, the sunflower of light. It is a magic flower that grows only behind the shiny waterfall. Only this flower can stop Dark Shadow." Without waiting, Gulbahar opened her wings and started her big journey. She flew out of Rose Garden. Many dangers were waiting for her. First, she came to the forest of thorns. The bushes there moved by themselves and made scary sounds. But Gulbahar used her magic stick to make a bright light. She found the path and moved forward. Next came the Valley of Flying Rocks. There was no ground, only big stones floating in the air. If you fall, you go deep down forever. Gulbahar made a bridge using flower vines. Slowly, she crossed to the other side. Then she came to the talking cave. This cave copied people's voices and tried to confuse them. The cave said, "Gulbahar, come this way. The magic flower is here." But Gulbahar was smart. She closed her eyes and followed the light of her magic stick. She found the correct path. After many hours, she reached the shiny waterfall. The light there was very bright. In the middle of the light, a golden flower was growing. It was the sunflower of light. It looked like it was made of sunlight. Gulbahar went to touch the flower, but suddenly a big black shadow came out from behind the waterfall. It was Dark Shadow. His eyes looked like fire. His body was made of smoke and darkness. He shouted loudly, "No fairy can stop me." Gulbahar's hands were shaking, but then she thought about her home, Rose Garden, the flowers, the butterflies, her friends. She held her magic stick and touched the sunflower. Then she shouted, "Magic of light, become bright." A very big light came out. The sky turned golden. Dark Shadow screamed and then turned into smoke and disappeared. Gulbahar fainted. When she opened her eyes, the sun was shining. Butterflies were flying. Flowers were smiling again. Rose Garden was happy. All the fairies came to Gulbahar and said, "You are our hero, the magical fairy of Rose Garden." Gulbahar smiled and said, "I just wanted to save my home." But the story is not over. That night, when everyone was sleeping, a small black crack opened under Gulbahar's lotus house, and a tiny shadow came out slowly. Was Dark Shadow really gone? Or
Fairy Glow TV.
The Magical Fairy of Rosewood, Part 2, Return of the Shadow Spirit. Far, far away in the most beautiful valley, there bloomed a magical land, Rosewood Garden. It was full of colorful flowers, sweet winds, singing bees, and dancing butterflies. In the heart of this garden lived a tiny, playful fairy named Gulbahar. Her wings shimmered like a rainbow, and in her hand she held a glowing magic wand. With it, she could bloom dead flowers, grow fallen leaves back on trees, and turn everything beautiful again. Gulbahar was everyone's favorite, but she wasn't just magical, she was also very naughty. She would sometimes change the color of flowers, swap butterfly voices, or even make the clouds fly upside down. Everyone laughed at her silly pranks. But one day, everything changed. That night, when everyone was fast asleep, Gulbahar heard a strange whisper near her lotus house. It said softly, "Light can't win forever. Darkness just waits." She woke up, scared. She went to the roots of her house and saw a deep crack in the ground. From that crack, a dark, smoky shadow rose. It wasn't fully black, nor fully visible. Gulbahar asked, "Who are you?" The shadow replied, "I am Kalpratham, the leftover shadow of the shadow spirit you once defeated. I cannot be destroyed by light. You must defeat the fear inside yourself to destroy me." Gulbahar ran to the old banyan tree. It said in its wise voice, "There is only one way. On the peak of the inner light mountain, during the full moon, a magical book appears, the Night Altar Grimoire. It holds the secret to destroy the shadow." Without wasting time, Gulbahar took her dearest fairy friend Nora, and the two began a magical journey once again. Their first stop was the Valley of Forgotten Time, where anyone who entered forgot their name, path, and even purpose. Gulbahar started to forget everything, her mission, her magic, even herself. But the butterfly tied in her hair fluttered softly and reminded her of her mother's lullaby. Suddenly, everything came back. Next came the Forest of Mirrors, where magical mirrors showed fake futures. In one mirror, Gulbahar saw herself as a queen, wearing a crown, ruling Rosewood. She smiled, but Nora whispered, "Only what is truly yours is real. The rest is just illusion." Gulbahar closed her eyes and listened to her heart. She found the right path. Finally, they reached Inner Light Mountain. There stood a half-fairy guardian who said, "To open the grimoire, you must give 3 gifts. 1 magic, 1 memory, and 1 tear. Are you ready?" Gulbahar didn't hesitate. She gave up her favorite magic, making flowers fly. She let go of her sweetest memory, the first hug from her mother. And she shed a real tear, not from fear, but from love. The book opened. Inside it read, "To defeat the Kalpratham, you must face your own shadow. Only light within can remove darkness outside." Gulbahar and Nora flew back to Rosewood, but the garden had changed. Flowers were frozen, winds were cold, and the land was silent. The shadow was waiting, full of dark energy. Gulbahar closed her eyes and saw her fears. Being alone, being weak, being unloved. Suddenly, in front of her appeared her own shadow. Same face, same voice, but empty eyes. I live inside you, the shadow said. When you fear, I grow. Gulbahar didn't run. She stepped closer and gave her shadow a gentle hug. A burst of golden light filled the sky, and Rosewood Garden slowly bloomed again. The banyan tree smiled and said, "You are no longer just a magical fairy. You are the protector of light, the one who defeated fear with love." From that day, Gulbahar's wand shone brighter with the new light of self-acceptance. But that night, on a quiet leaf outside her house, a single black droplet fell. A tiny whisper echoed. Every shadow has a deeper secret, one that no book dares to tell. Gulbahar turned in her sleep, unaware. Another storm was on its way. To be continued. Fairy Glow TV, Part 3, The Magic Fairy of Rose Forest and the Queen of Shadows. Many days had passed since Gulbahar defeated Kalpratham, Dark Shadow. Rose Forest was happy again. Flowers were smiling, butterflies were dancing, and fairies were singing. But Gulbahar was feeling worried. Every night she saw strange dreams, a black palace, and a girl who looked just like her, but her eyes were empty, like she was alive but still dead. One night, Gulbahar was sitting near Lotus Lake. Suddenly, the water started shaking. A light fog came, and from that fog, a dark shadow appeared. Slowly, the shadow turned into a woman. Long veil, black wings, and a glowing shadow in her hand. She said, "You defeated my servant. Now I will come myself. I am the Queen of Shadows, the mother of every fear." Gulbahar felt scared, but she took a deep breath and stood strong. The next morning, strange fog spread all over Rose Forest. Fairies couldn't fly, trees were turning into stone. The old banyan tree said in a shaky voice, "She has come, the Queen of Shadows, but there is still one hope. You must go to Zero Forest, where time stops. There you will find Satyadeep, a lamp that shows the truth and breaks all lies." Gulbahar called her two best fairies, Nora and Bindu, and they all started a new, dangerous, and magical journey. First stop, the Mirror Lake. This lake was magical. Every shadow here could talk, but they told lies and tried to confuse. When Gulbahar looked in the water, she saw herself as a queen with a crown and fairies bowing to her. But Nora whispered, "This is not you. This is your desire's shadow." Gulbahar closed her eyes and listened to her inner voice. Then she found the right path. Second stop, Zero Forest. Here, wind didn't blow, leaves didn't fall, everything was still. Suddenly, Bindu lost her voice. Gulbahar couldn't move. She saw a frozen bee and remembered, "Only sound can wake up Zero." She took a deep breath, lifted her magic stick, and sang, "Light's voice, give heartbeat again." Slowly, everything started moving. Bindil got her voice back. Final challenge, the Cave of Satyadeep. The cave was full of darkness. On the wall it was written, "One who cannot face their truth cannot touch the lamp." When Gulbahar touched the lamp, she saw her tired, scared, and broken face. She softly said, "Yes, I feel afraid. I'm not always brave, but I won't run from myself." Just then, the lamp lit up with bright golden light. Now all three fairies flew to the glass palace, where the Queen of Shadows was waiting. The palace walls were like mirrors. In every wall they saw themselves, but scared, weak, and lost. The queen shouted, "You can't defeat me. I am the part of you that you hide." Gulbahar held the lamp and said softly, "I'm not afraid of myself anymore." The light from the lamp surrounded the queen. Her shadow started breaking. From every crack, small light drops came out, as if many fears were set free. The queen screamed, "This is not fire, this is the truth!" And with a gust of wind, she disappeared. Gulbahar, Nora, and Bindu came back to Rose Forest. The lamp was kept in the Temple of Flowers. All the fairies said together, "Now you are not just a protector, you are the goddess of inner light." But that night, when Gulbahar was sleeping, a black butterfly sat on her window. It whispered in her ear, "Every shadow has a root, and that root is still breathing under the ground." Gulbahar's eyes opened wide. Her heart was beating fast. Is this the end or a new beginning? The real mystery will be revealed in Part 4. Fairy Glow TV, Part 4. The Rose Valley and the Root of the Shadow. Gulbahar opened her eyes suddenly. Her heart was beating very fast. The black butterfly on her window was gone, but its whisper was still echoing in her ears. Every shadow has a root, and that root is still breathing under the ground. She took a deep breath. "If it's true, then my work is not over yet," she said to herself. Next morning, Gulbahar went straight to the old banyan tree. "Is the danger really gone?" she asked. The tree's voice came slowly. "No, child, the Shadow Queen was only the face. The root of darkness still lives, hidden, deep." Gulbahar remembered the truth lamp. She ran to the flower temple where the lamp was kept. But what she saw made her eyes go wide. The golden flame had turned blue, and suddenly it vanished. Now Gulbahar knew the real danger was still hiding, deeper than before. She called her fairy friends, Nora and Bindu. All three started a new journey towards the roots of Gulabvan, to a place no fairy had ever gone, the Black Root Gate, a secret door hidden deep under the land of the valley. As they reached the gate, Gulbahar softly said, "I want to know the truth behind the shadow." Suddenly, the door opened with a whispering sound. Inside was a deep well, not filled with water, but with old memories. Every drop held a forgotten moment. In the center of the well sat a very old fairy. Her name was Shubra Guha. Her eyes were closed and dark vines were wrapped around her. As Gulbahar came closer, Shubra opened her eyes and said, "The Shadow Queen you fought was just a shadow. The real root is you." Gulbahar gasped, "Me?" Shubra nodded, "Yes, a forgotten part of you created her. Let me show you." She touched Gulbahar's forehead gently, and suddenly everything changed. Gulbahar saw herself, a small girl, sitting alone in a dark cave, scared, shaking, with no one to hug her, no name, no smile. Shubra said softly, "This was your childhood, the one you locked away, and from that pain, the shadow was born." Tears rolled down Gulbahar's cheeks. "But why did I forget her?" she whispered. "Because it hurt too much," said Shubra. "But pain that is forgotten becomes a shadow." Then Shubra gave Gulbahar the Fire of Light wand, a magical stick that burned with the fire of truth. "Take it to the place where the shadow was born. But remember, this fire doesn't burn your body. It shows your real feelings." Gulbahar returned with Nora and Bindu to a very old tree, a dry, dying tree in the valley. As she placed the wand near its roots, the ground shook. From the roots came a shadow, just like Gulbahar, but with eyes full of anger and pain. "I'm the child you forgot," the shadow said. "The one no one hugged, the one you left in the dark." Gulbahar stepped forward. her eyes filled with love. "I'm sorry, I forgot you, but now I remember. I came to bring you back." The shadow began to cry. She walked toward Gulbahar, and then they hugged. In that moment, the shadow turned into light. A new tree grew from the ground, the tree of self. It had no color, but whoever touched it saw their true self. Now Gulbahar had a new crown, the crown of wholeness. But the story didn't end there. That night, while Gulbahar was sitting quietly in the temple, a flying letter came through the window. It had only 3 words. "Now I awaken." "Who?" she asked, and then a loud thunder roared in the sky. "I am Kalpratham, the source of all darkness." Gulbahar closed her eyes and took a deep breath. A bigger battle was coming, not outside, but inside the soul. Coming soon in Part 5, will Gulbahar defeat Kalpratham, or is this the real beginning? If you liked this story, please like, subscribe, and press the bell icon for the next story. Fairy Glow TV, The Final Battle of Gulabvan and Kalpratham. It was a deep and silent night. The sky was still, the air was heavy, and Gulbahar sat alone on the temple steps. In her hand was an old letter, its corners torn and its words shaking in the moonlight. Only 3 words were written. "I am awake now." Her eyes widened. She knew what it meant. Kalpratham, the dark force that had once tried to destroy Gulabvan, had returned. Suddenly, the ground beneath her trembled. A glowing blue light rose from under the temple and flowed toward the lake. Without wasting time, Gulbahar called her 2 dearest fairy sisters, Nora and Bindu, and together they rushed toward the lake. As they reached, the surface of the water began to shine. From the glowing ripples, 2 magical mermaids appeared, one with a blue tail and the other golden. They said nothing, but in the air, shining words appeared. "Kalpratham's seed is hidden deep in the magical Indrajal world. If it breaks, the earth will drown." Gulbahar stepped forward and said, "I am not here to fear. I am here to protect." The mermaids nodded and took their hands. In the next moment, the 3 fairies dived deep into the glowing water. They entered a new world, Indrajal Lok. It was full of glowing corals, sparkling fishes, and soft blue light. But the silence here was mysterious. It felt both beautiful and dangerous. The Golden Mermaid whispered, "To reach Kalpratham's power, you must pass 3 spirit gates." At the first gate, Gulbahar saw Gulabvan burning, flowers turning to ash, trees falling, everything lost. But Gulbahar stood strong and said, "Even if everything burns, I will still protect it." The gate opened. At the second gate, her mother appeared with open arms and said, "Come home, my child, leave all this." Tears came to her eyes, but she replied, "I'm no longer just your daughter. I belong to all of Gulabvan." And the gate opened again. At the third gate, there was a mirror. Inside it, Gulbahar saw herself, tired, broken, scared. But inside her heart burned a blue flame, the Indradeep. She touched it gently and said, "This is my real power." The mirror shattered into tiny lights. Finally, Gulbahar stood before Kalpratham. He was not a person. He was a shifting shadow. Sometimes her father's face, sometimes her worst memories, sometimes her own shadow, full of fear and sadness. But Gulbahar walked forward calmly. She looked into the shadow's dark eyes and softly said, "I did not come to fight you. I came to understand you." And then she placed the glowing Indradeep into his chest. Suddenly, a blue light exploded. The mermaids turned into rainbows and danced in circles. Kalpratham slowly melted away, like a heavy fear finally leaving the world. But from where he disappeared, a single glowing seed remained. The Golden Mermaid whispered, "This is the seed of wishes. Only one who has defeated fear and doubt can plant it." Gulbahar kicked it up carefully, and the fairies returned to Gulabvan. At the lake where their journey began, Gulbahar planted the seed. Slowly, a magical wish tree grew. Its branches sparkled with light, and its flowers were not ordinary. They shone with magic and hope. One morning, when sunlight touched the tree, 4 tiny fairies were born from the flowers, small, glowing, flying with rainbow dust. All the fairies clapped with joy and crowned Gulbahar with a magical crown of light and flowers. From that day, she became Gulabvan's mother queen. Now, whenever a fairy touches the tree with a true heart, one pure wish comes true. And when the fairies dance near the lake under the rainbow sky, a sweet voice whispers, "True courage brings true magic, and every brave heart creates a new fairy tale." If you liked this story, like the video, subscribe to Fairy Glow TV, and press the bell icon for more magical adventure.